Hello, Frugal Force. This is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, and I'm doing another one of my morning walks. So this is a road race kind of episode. For those of you unfamiliar, I'm either driving or walking when I'm doing it. It's just conversational videos with a couple topics, and hopefully that you join in the discussion and put your thoughts in the comments as well. So anyway, yeah, I'm doing my morning walk here, and it's too cold outside, so my morning walk is indoors right now. So I'm taking my stroll through the Sunny D factory, if you will. Oh, hey Zach, how you doing? Yeah, cool. Catch you on the flip side, buddy. Oh, anyway, I just wanted to talk about something that has caught my attention for a while, and it's when you're in the public eye, you're doing something for public consumption. You're going to get feedback, whether you like it or not, and it seems to me that the EI emotional intelligence, particularly, it seems like a lot of writers in the comic book industry, sometimes artists too, they just, yeah, actually both, they really struggle with EI development, I think, when it comes to criticism. And yeah, I understand. Some people are going to be like, Captain, what do you know? You don't do that. How do you know what they're going through? You're right. I don't know exactly what they're going through. Everybody's situation is different, even if you are in the same field. But I have written many publications, and everything I've written for publication has always been under heavy scrutiny, always. And sometimes the feedback you get is a little hurtful. But here's the thing: is you learn to take that and go, okay, let's see where they're coming from. And by doing that, we can shift it and change it into positives. Another one, matter of fact, some of the worst and hardest to take experiences I had was when I was a professional musician. I would do all kinds of things as a professional musician. If you're not in a band that's clearing mega bucks, you do what you can to make money. And one of the things I did with my studio is I did commercials. I do radio commercials and things like that. And there was one time I did this one, and I spent the day on it. And there's a point to this. I spent the day on it, and I felt, this was good. It was a little different. It was quite different than what I would normally do. But the differences, I thought, of how different it was than what you traditionally expect was what made it cool, right? So anyway, I do that. I work on it that night. I get it done. I get it, sent it I didn't send it. The person actually came to the studio, checked it out to give me their thoughts if they liked it, the product that I made. And I could tell while they were listening to it, they didn't like it. You could see the look on their face. It just must have completely missed the mark. And they told me afterwards, and they didn't hold back or anything, like, dude, that sucked. I mean, there was no sugarcoating it at all. It was just blatantly, that was trash. And, I'm thinking, what? How crappy is that? But they were right. And here's the kicker. One, they're right because they were consuming the product. They were the ones that ultimately was my market, my customer, because I had to sell it to them to then get it out to the public. So they knew what their consumer base wanted. But the other point, too, is a little different. In the music field, and I think it's the same thing about writing or producing any kind of product that you do, is that you have to step back from that product for a while. While you're working on something, you usually think the best of it. You're energized. You're on to something. Like, oh, this is good. This is great. Sometimes we need to step back, maybe take a day away from it, 24 hours, maybe more, depending on the person, to clear your head, look it over again or listen to it again, if you will, and get a more honest perspective. Because now the adrenaline isn't pumping, the energy isn't there like you're all hyped because this is coming out great or it was really cool, and you get a more honest perspective. So anyway, that's what I did. I listened to it, and I waited a day. I listened to it and thought, what was so bad about this? Why do you say it was so bad? And as I was listening to it from a more objective perspective, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is garbage. Where I thought I was going out of the normal bounds and things, and it was going to make it sound cool and original. It didn't work. And sometimes we have that with our writing too. I've had things sent back from an editor. It's like, ooh, they butchered my stuff, But you look at it, it's like, well, yeah, they're right. Maybe I have to consider my target market more. Maybe I was writing it at a different level that wasn't pertaining to them, or I was inferring too much that they knew things maybe that they shouldn't, so it wasn't as clear. or whatever it may have been. You know, and so we have to learn to take that rather than just go instant block or the instant enraged attack at somebody because if you don't like it, don't buy it. No, if you don't like it, tell me why. That should be the professional view of it. If you don't like it, tell me why. Can you please everybody? No. We do have to be aware of that. We are never going to please everybody. But we have to also realize that if we want our product to sell as much as possible, we're going to have to take some advice sometimes, some perspective of what the views are. You know, and some people will be like, well, it's art. It's supposed to be your reflection. Sure, you can have art and be your reflection, but also if you're expecting to make money off of it, if you're expecting this to make a livelihood or a profit at all, you have to consider your target market. If you're missing your target market, what's the point? Another reason this triggers, I recently seen there's a thing, a little Twitter spat, if you will, about some of Tim Lim's books, and they're like, oh, he's beating a dead horse. He keeps going with these satire books. Well, yeah, it works. You know, that's another common business thing, and I'm not trying to throw shade at that person or anything. I'm not mentioning names because, okay, I can understand that. Maybe you're going to the same well so many times it might be too much. Okay, I understand that perspective. Maybe branch out of there, but also business-wise, if you know something works and you do it good, you keep going. For example, well, let's look. They released a Nintendo Entertainment System. Okay, what was the next one? The Super Nintendo or Super Famicom, depending on where you're at, right? Because the other one original was the Famicom. And then we had the Nintendo 64. They were all cartridge-based because cartridges worked. They kept the name Nintendo on them, not just because it's a brand, but they could have named that machine anything, right? Brands don't have to name their machine after them, right? So, you know, the PC Engine, company's name wasn't PC Engine. So that's a choice. You do with what works. And sometimes doing that, they already know then they have an established customer base by having that branding name. Marvel, DC, they all do it. That's why we have, you know, well, there's other reasons and factors too that have things like She-Hulk or things, or a legacy character when you base them off another character's name. It's easier because you already have that success. Matter of fact, they've hit that well too much for a long time. And you see they've had to back away from that because it completely failed. They kept trying to change characters and things, and they just kept reusing the legacy names because they knew they could get some attention right off the bat. And it did. It got media attention. It gave them more of a base of a potential sell point right off the rip rather than starting something completely new. It's also why franchises work. It's why we have a McDonald's on every corner, it seems like, because it's harder to get to know Joe's Hamburger, and you're not as likely to give it a chance when you don't know what to expect, when you know what to expect from McDonald's, which might not be the best example there. But you know, McDonald's isn't the highest. Let's be honest, you don't go to McDonald's for the best hamburger. You go there because you're in a hurry and you're hungry, and the price is within your ballpark. So ultimately, there's the thing. Dealing with EI and dealing with that constructive criticism. And this is a challenge to myself too, because I put out stuff. YouTubers deal with that as well. For example, I'll put out a video, let's say, and it gets not a lot of views. Okay. And then somebody else puts out a video on the same subject, and it gets thousands and thousands more views. Well, I can easily hit that, you know, well, the analytics suck, and this is unfair. And there's an element of truth to that, most definitely. But then there's other parts too. Why? And you have to look at that. What could I do better? And that's the key right there. Because we always put our focus, and that's a sign of low EI, by the way. If we always put our focus on how to blame everything else, how we can find all the reasons something failed, we're missing the opportunity to make something better. So I try to challenge people that I work with and things to change their views from, well, they didn't do this, they did this is why this failed, to what can I do to make this better? If we can change our thoughts on that, no matter what negative criticism we get, even if it's very unfounded or has very little fact based on it, why are they having that take? Are they crazy? Okay, maybe they are. But let's change our view. Well, then what can I do to make this better? How can that hurt you at all as an artist or in business or any perspective of your life? It can't. It can only make you better because now you're focused constantly on making yourself better rather than finding excuses for reasons that you did not please everybody. Once again, you're not ever going to please everybody. So it's good because that means you're constantly going to be striving to improve yourself. And that there is the key, in my opinion, to high emotional intelligence. Finding the rationality and the benefit of everything that you receive to use as a motivational and learning opportunity for yourself. I mean, and we have to think of that in the good, because think about this. We take the negative, and then we find all the excuses why to denounce it, and that's not true. But we don't do that with a positive, do we? Well, the only reason they liked it, my book, is because. The only reason they liked my artwork is because. The only reason they like this song is because. No, when we hear the praise, we eat that up. We use that. When we get the negativity, we build a wall and try to bounce it off of us. We need to take that wall, put a door in it, and open that door and say, okay, let's analyze what I could have done here that might have made that better. Maybe there isn't a whole lot of accuracy to what they said, but there's maybe a nugget of that can give me a way to improve just a little bit. Well, anyway, I've rambled on a good amount here, which is, something I tend to do once in a while, and I understand that, but hey, that's what I do on these road rage videos. So my question to you is, what do you think? Can you find a nugget to learn from in everything you hear? Can you change your mentality to, what can I do to make this better? And what can you take from that? Hopefully you found this video interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the EI component and taking constructive criticism as well. Okay. I would definitely love that. If you enjoy these videos too, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You know the drill, and there's things in the info bar where you can click on those links. I also want to take a moment to say thank you for everybody that's supported the channel in 2019, either by subscribing, putting comments, notifications, giving to the Patreon, giving to the Subscribe Star, or buying merchandise through the Redbubble link and wearing that Captain Frugal shirt and stuff. You know who you are. You people have done that. Thank you so much for helping support this channel. We wouldn't be here without you. And until next time, keep it frugal.